I have been asked to speak on innovation and the relevance of innovation in India. Let me begin by saying that innovation is important just about anywhere in the world. It is not just in India that it's relevant. However, in a country like India, which is very diverse, which is very different from the several countries that we see around us, innovation becomes critical, not just relevant. Let's first look at what innovation really is. It's a term that we see all around us. Everyone uses it. It's also a term that is highly misunderstood. There have been several instances where I have had the opportunity to speak on innovation. And on certain occasions, I've also had the opportunity to interact with those who were present there on exactly what innovation is all about. Many a time I see innovation being misunderstood as invention. Invention is not innovation, and innovation is not invention. These are completely different concepts. Innovation is that which enables people to apply products and ideas to everyday problems to solve those problems. It brings a new process. It brings a new methodology. It solves issues. It improves what's around us. That's what innovation is. To give an example from our everyday life, let's call it a layman's example. This electric light was invented at one point in time. But when the same electric light comes to us, to our aid, in the form of a table lamp, that's innovation. That's using this particular electric light in a particular manner to solve a specific problem. That is innovation. We started with a question on what is the relevance of innovation in India. To understand that, we need to understand India. I'm sure as Indians all of us do that, but I must still repeat certain facts which help us to understand our country. When we look around us and when we discuss about India, the common point is the lack of infrastructure in the country, the lack of electric power in the country. Education is not well spread. We have right to education as one of the fundamental rights, but it is not that prevalent. A very large proportion of our brethren still live in poverty. If you look at the workforce of the country, estimated at 400 million people, about 40%, as I understand, are school dropouts. Another 40% are illiterate. That is the state of affairs at this point in time in our country, after 63 years of glorious independence. Let's look at agriculture, the sector which employs the maximum number of people in our country. 60 to 70% of our population are engaged in agriculture. Yet, it contributes only about 20% of the GDP. Look at the abysmal productivity in that all-important sector. That is the scenario in India at this point in time. That has been the scenario for a long time. And it continues to be the case. When that is what we are faced with, when that's the sort of task which might actually look insurmountable ahead of us, innovation moves from the realm of relevance or relevant to the realm of being critical. This is what I shared with you initially. The next aspect that we need to look at is, what have we all done about it? Is there something that can be done about it? And if yes, is something being done about it? I would like to share a few examples that I have observed and that I believe are great examples of innovation. And we are not talking about some very simple innovation which impacts all of 100 people, a small number of people. We are talking about innovations that have a societal impact, that have enabled, these innovations that have enabled society to benefit. Because while on one hand, innovations can bring economic value, on the other hand, innovations can bring benefits to a lot of people. It can improve the way we live. It can improve our environment. So let's look at one such innovation from a multinational that operates in India, which is almost like an Indian company now, ITC. ITC once, they still have it, several years ago, came up with a program called e-Chaupal. Now what e-Chaupal essentially does is, it took the power of internet to the masses. And not just anybody out there, but to the farmers out there. We spoke about that very relevant sector, the all-important sector, agriculture. That's the sector that e-Chaupal actually addresses. So what did they exactly do? They set up e-Chaupal centers all around the country, or at least in a very large part of the country, which enable farmers to get direct access to the prices of the different commodities that they make and sell, that they produce and sell. The result of that was, farmers then could really understand what's going on around them, what kind of prices were available for their produce, and the middlemen, that group of people who make the most by investing the least, they were disintermediated over time. So today, farmers are not at the mercy of that group called the middlemen. On top of that, ITC went about spreading information about all sorts of new farming techniques, methodologies, technology, whatever, and the farmers benefited quite significantly from that. That's e-Chaupal for you. As we speak, e-Chaupal has set up 6,500 centers in 40,000 villages, spread across 40,000 villages, and handles over 4 million farmers, needs of 4 million farmers. You can see the power of internet and what it has done for the farmers. This is not invention. ITC did not invent internet. That was invented in the defense labs in the United States a long time ago. They did not invent computers. That also happened quite some time ago. They brought that together, they innovated, they thought about a way in which the middlemen could be disintermediated and the farmers could benefit, and the result was each other. We heard Prakash speak about the cost for a call, a cell phone call in our country and in the US. We all hear about the telecom revolution that's happened in the country. What exactly is that revolution? Is that revolution the mobile phone itself? Is that technologies like 2 or 2.5G or 3G or whatever other G? It's not that. When cell phones came into India, as many of us would remember, the per minute call cost us 16 rupees and 80 paise. Today, and I'm talking about a local call from what I remember, or maybe a call within India, but definitely not an STD call. Today the same call costs us, in certain cases, as low as half a paise. Maybe a paise, maybe a few paise. Way below the 1,680 paise that it cost us in 93-94 time frame, just about 16-15 years ago. So the innovation there really was figuring out a way to extend cell phone to the masses by reducing the cost or the price of a call or a minute of a call. And what's the result? Fishermen today, I'm told, actually call and find out exactly what's happening, what kind of prices are prevailing for their for the fish that they have to sell, and they go to that particular market which would give them the maximum price. Could we have imagined 10 years ago a situation where a fisherman actually uses a cell phone to contract business? That's just one example. There are any number of examples of how this little thing, this little cell phone has wrought a significant change in the lives of the masses. So there the innovation was to bring cell phone down to the masses by reducing the cost of a call or the price of a call.